Next up is Nick Burchell of Avenza Systems. Nick is a graduate of Oxford Brookes Cartography program. Nick spent the first years of his career working as a cartographer in the UK and in the Middle East, then transitioned into software and services in 2000. At Avenza Systems, he has overall responsibility for strategy and management of quality assurance, technical support, documentation and training services for the company's mobile application and suite of desktop cartographic tools, and product management for the company's flagship cartographic product, MAPublisher. Here's Nick.
Thanks, Donna. Hello, everyone. Yes, we are Canadian. So I'm very happy to be in Montreal in Canada's 150th birthday this year. So how many MAPublisher guys do we have in the room? That's good. How many of the people that didn't put their hands up have actually heard of MAPublisher? Perfect. So I'm going to do a very quick run through of what it is for those guys who've never heard of us. So just a quick agenda. I don't need to read all this, but these are some of the things I'll be going over today. It's pretty much a review of our year from December of last year when 9.9 came out to version 10, which is coming out at the end of this month. So just quickly about the Avenza platform. We like to use this schematic, how it all links together. Geospatial data is obviously the hub of where generally people start with our tools. So in MAPublisher and Geographic Imager, we can import from those geospatial data sets, bring them directly into Illustrator and Photoshop, and really keep all those attributes and georeferencing intact. So once you've made your maps, you can push them through our web author tool to be online, or you can actually push up geospatial PDFs to our Avenza Map Store. Hopefully some of you guys that are MAPublisher users have heard of the Map Store. And then our mobile app, which is Avenza Maps, is the tool for actually working with those maps offline when you're out in the field, hiking, biking. We do a lot of work with forestry, firefighters, military, people that need to be offline when they're using their maps. So for those few of you who've not heard of MAPublisher, so it really is an Avenza and Adobe love story that began over 20 years ago. We're still going strong today, which is great. But really for those guys who've not heard of MAPublisher and Illustrator, we really seamlessly integrate into the Adobe Illustrator interface. So you can work with our panels, our dialogues. They can be resized, moved, docked, just the same as you would within Illustrator with their native panels and dialogues. So really the tool is to make crisp, clean maps, and really, enabling with all the attributes and georeferencing intact, you can really use those two great pieces of functionality in order to make your maps there. We are highly compatible. Version 10 will be out at the end of October, we hope. It will be compatible with CC 2018. We are Mac and Windows compatible also. So this is some of the headaches that our QA team have throughout the year. As Adobe release point releases, major releases, we always need to make sure that we are compatible with them. They tend to break things on us sometimes. So 2017, so it's a really big year for us. MAPublisher 10 is probably the most feature-rich version we've had out to date. So we'll run through some of those highlights, but I'll start with 9.9. So ArcGIS Online import was a big thing that we introduced in December last year. We are agile at Avenza. We like to work off of user stories. So really the key user story here is obviously that people want to import data that they have stored on Arc Online. Through the MAPublisher importer, we support feature layers and map image layers. For feature layers, you can query which features or attributes to import. Image layers, you can define areas of interest, bring those in down the pipe, and we'll go into a little example in a minute. And then we also allow you to import web services by specifying a URL. So this is going to open somewhere else. I'm going to have to drag it in. One second. Let me know when this appears. Okay, I'll start him again. Hopefully the rest will appear in the right place now. So here it is. It's the MAPublisher importer. Simply select ArcGIS Online from the list box. This is our Avenza Dev account. So we're connected. I'm going to give you a little example of Montreal. We're going to import some world imagery. So a little description of the imagery itself. This is from this is an Esri data set. So lots of tools there to define which area you want to bring in. If you did have an existing map view, which we've got here, we can use that to specify the extents. So right now we're going to reduce the resolution, otherwise we're not looking at a progress bar. So we've downloaded the image, we'll bring it in. And you can see, bang, it straight into Illustrator. All the georeferencing and attribute information is there. Now we're going to add to this data set. So we're going to import some vector artwork. So these are the Montreal roads. So we're going to set up a little query here. So I just want to bring the highways in. I don't want to include all those attribute columns, so I'm just going to pick one or two. So now I want it to match it to the world imagery layer. And here they are with all their attributes right inside Illustrator. Okay. So now we're going to bring in some additional data from a web service. Oh, sorry, it's not again. That's the same video. Okay. So here's one I made earlier. So again, we're going to set up a query. We're going to bring in some hydrographic features. I just want to include those couple of waterways. Same again, same referencing, world imagery layer. And here they are with all the attributes intact. Pretty cool. So the next one we brought in 9.9, so we work with a company called Hexagon. They used to be called Intergraph, ISC. They were asking for trim and extend tools, so I'll quickly show you what these things are. Essentially, it's how it comes on the tin. You can quickly trim lines to a specified line. You can do individual line trims, or you can actually trim multiple lines by click and drag. So here's a little example of downtown Toronto. So I want to trim these two lines above Queen Street because I don't need them for my map. So I quickly select the trim tool from the Illustrator toolbar and then click each of the lines and they're gone. So this is the multi-drag. So just drag your cursor across the pair and off they go. So extend, so same kind of principle. We want to extend lines up to a intersecting line. For this one, we also have a tool in the Illustrator toolbar. So this is a little example of extend. So this is Shooter Street, which is just above Queen Street. So the same two lines are here. You can see the attributes. So I'll simply click the end of each line with the extend tool and now go up to Shooter Street with the same orientation. So that's a nice little tool. So linked data. I took a little trip down to DC in February. Hopefully there's some of you in the room that I met in DC. And I guess in February I started talking about this kind of functionality where I saw the pain of having to recreate maps when the source data gets updated. It all has to be done again. If you had style sheets, I guess you could copy them into new documents and bring that source data back in. But we really wanted a way to quickly update current documents to updated data sets. So again, user story, we wanted to refresh layers in Illustrator when the data that was originally used to construct the map has been updated. So right now we're calling the version 10 linked data, actually version 1. So hopefully we'll get some good feedback because we really want to evolve this tool further down the road. So this is essentially how it works. So say you brought a map info file in several years ago, and in this example, I'm going to use the Sudan example here. So, I brought it in, I've reprojected it, I've added graticule lines. You can see this data set is so old that it has the old Sudan borders. So you saw previously that I checked a box to say automatically check. So in this case, it's told me on file open that there is an update to the source. I chose to skip it, which you can do. And you can also uncheck that box. So in this scenario, I'm going to update from the source. So you can see now it's updating the data link. The reprojection has been applied. The graticules are unaffected. And now we have the new borders without having to recreate the map. That's very much an ooh, ah. Yes. So right now for version 1, we are supporting reapplying style sheets. So this really would be the way to preserve any colors, symbologies that you have applied to your data, make sure they're in a style sheet, and then ultimately you can update from the source and the style sheet will be retained. For any existing documents that you have, you can actually create a link to a source file. So this would be a function that's accessed from the Map Views panel. So this is an example of Hawaii. It's entirely fictional. So if you look at this little red blob in the corner, these are lava flow hazard zones. Keep your eye on that one in the corner, just under 130. So I'll show you that the style sheet's been set up, applied. So basically the attributes are being used to color all of that data. So now I'm going to go set up a new data link. So I'm linking this Illustrator document to a shapefile on the server. So you can see that's the source shapefile. This is the target, the destination layer that I want it applied to. I'm going to make sure I apply any relevant style sheet. Then I'm going to click OK. It tells me the source is up to date, so now I'm going to update it. So you can see that that hazard zone is now accurate to the 2017 data. So filter geometry on import, I saw a lot of pain. People sat at their computers watching a progress bar for 30 minutes, an hour, maybe overnight, waiting for data to come in. A big thing we've done in version 10 is actually allow you to filter geometry before it comes in. So you've got a massive data set, you just want a certain area within that data set. We've given you the tools now within the importer to actually crop down the area that you actually need. So this is the interstates of the US. As an example, I bring it in. It's a very basic data set, but imagine it was very complex. You just want actually a subset of that data. So now within the importer, you would select the same shapefile. In the advanced tool, you can now click the filter geometry checkbox, click this button, and then you've got a bunch of different options to actually filter the geometry by. You can do online map, you can do existing map locations, an existing map view, extents in another data set, or by the coordinate system envelope. You can also crop, intersect, or contain the data. So this is the coolest one. It brings up an online map. These are the extents of my data set. I can just drag these handles in. So obviously it's in Web Mercator, but you can see the extent of the data is still accurate. Then in it comes. So before, obviously, you would need to bring in the data, then crop it down, then resize it to the map view, but you could have been waiting an hour, 2 hours, just to bring the data in the first place. So similar concept, filter attributes on import. Say you have 200 attribute columns. You just want the 3 that you need. Maybe there's some labels that you want to apply. You don't want to sit there and wait for the data to come in while it's sitting there processing attributes. So very quickly, 5 minutes already. Okay, so we're going to bring in the same shapefile, interstates. So you just want to label these roads, so you don't need all the other attribute columns. So you can click and select all, click and select none. So you've just got the 3. Okay, so scale bar. So yeah, my notes have gone, so I apologize. I'm winging it. So thanks, Tom, if he's in the room. Really helped us out with the enhancements that we've made to scale bar. So we've got a lot more preset scale bar styles. You can now import things that you've saved earlier. So say you want to reapply the same scale bar to multiple maps, you can actually export that design and use it later. You're able to preview the scale bar at the same zoom level as the document, and we've got a lot more improved customization tools. Sorry, I just need to remove this pop-up. Okay. That's better. So fresh look and feel. For those who've been with us a long time, we felt it was about time that we updated our identity. Gone is the 1990s MAPublisher logo. It's a lot fresher now. This is our new installer screen, our new about box. Many thanks to Cynthia Brewer, we've added color Brewer swatches in CMYK and RGB in our version 10 installer. Again, thanks to the NPS guys, we've got their symbology now included and also USGS symbols. There's more direct access from the program to our knowledge base, forum, online training videos, and most importantly, our customer services team. So very quickly, everything else that we put in version 10, we've done a bunch of work in Web Author. Please come and find me afterwards. I will give you a demo. It is very cool. So we've been working quite closely with Tom again and BRO in the Netherlands, who is a customer of Hans van der Marel, who you know. We've customized the highlight colors for web tag hover. We've included a dynamic scale bar in Web Author now. You can include a map description and a legend flyout panel, and there's no more flash. We told you in 9.9 we were taking it away, and in version 10 it's gone completely. We got a request in February from Nat Geo. We put that into 9.9.1, so this enabled you to just bring certain layers from one document into another whilst keeping all of the style sheets, attributes, georeferencing, before you just brought that entire document into a new one. Line simplification, we've added Viz, Villing, and Wyatt, and I've been practicing that. So that will now be there in version 10 with Douglas Pecker as a way to simplify your lines. We've done a couple of enhancements into map tagger, styling, text alignment settings are all in version 10. Hans, are you here? So yes, we have put in Hans's request. You can now orient your north arrow to a custom location. So if you want to point your arrows to Mecca or magnetic north, you can now do so. Nat Geo gave us a request for make index, so you can now base your index location on the justification point of the text, whereas before it was always lower left. Edit schema, you can multi-select columns to control visibility. Adobe Exchange, we will be up on Adobe Exchange by year's end, so you can now update and buy directly from them. And we are very excited to be releasing a Chinese language version this year. Big market for us. And just finally, I talked to you a bit about the love story earlier, but we've been around a long time now, and really, hopefully, you guys will get a kick out of this for mapping in Adobe. MAPublisher, you're my only hope. So we've got 3 of us here this week. So my name's Nick. You can get me at nickb@avenza.com. Jeff is also here and in another session right now. He's our QA lead for MAPublisher. And you all know Hans. Hans is our Dutch reseller, very much an Avenza advocate and a friend and an advisor for us. If you can't remember how to spell our name, avenza.com, you can always get us at cartography.com, which is a lot easier to spell, hopefully.